Just a very quick one, everyone. I don't normally watch, Keir Starmer's conference speeches because I just think the guy's boring. He's drab. He's just stale, and there's nothing interesting or charismatic about the man. If you gave him an audition to play as the Terminator, I'd think he'd be steamrolled into that role. I just think there's nothing really fascinating about anything that comes out of his mouth. But I watched that conference speech that he made, and there's a few points that he made that really concerned me. And I think that this man is incredibly dangerous, and in the direction of travel he's taking this country, his own political party, um, is a turn for the worst. And I just think if something isn't done as soon as possible with the Labour Party, I think we could face mass civil unrest with the way Keir Starmer, his rhetoric in that speech. I just want to play you a clip. It's a very short clip about what Keir Starmer thinks exactly about people who are, let's just say, contemptuous towards his current government over mass immigration.
So let us spell it out once and for all. Controlling migration is a reasonable goal. But if you throw bricks and smash up private property, that's not legitimate. That is thuggery. Free speech is a British value, and we have guarded it for centuries. But if you incite racist violence and hatred, that is not expressing concern, it's criminal. And this party, this great party, is proud of our flags. Yet if they're painted alongside graffiti, telling a Chinese takeaway owner to go home, that's not pride, that's racism. And conference. If you say or imply that people cannot be English or British because of the colour of their skin, that mixed heritage families owe you an explanation, that people who've lived here for generations, raised their children here, built their lives here, working in our schools, our hospitals, running businesses, are our neighbours. If you say they should now be deported, then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal.
So those kind of words, you are the enemy of national renewal. We will fight you with everything at our disposal. Those are the kinds of words that reflect on what Keir Starmer's thinking, what's on the Labour Party's mind, the leadership of Labour. They're basically saying that since the Overton window has shifted so massively with the success of reform in the polls, is that, we have to use and utilise uncanny methods and tactics to push our regime forward. And he's basically used this kind of rhetoric to stoke even more tension between different communities. He hasn't solved anything. He hasn't united people together. He's actually divided people. He doesn't understand the full scope of things when he labels people who are just merely concerned about immigration as thugs. Now, I for one, I will condemn people who throw bricks, smash up windows, smash up people's shops and private property and all that stuff. That's not acceptable behaviour. But you have to understand the root cause of this mass civil unrest, why people are so angry, why people are so frustrated with this current government. It's the fact that normal everyday people who don't normally get involved in politics and not particularly politically savvy, they've had this level of state control, intimidation and politics shoved down their throats with the way that the Labour Party have the damage that they've inflicted and the policies that they've enacted. He's basically declared war on the people that he's supposed to represent, the British people, the ones who are being sentenced or arrested, investigated for social media posts, when they're concerned about the number of illegal immigrants that are coming in the boatloads. And there's been a whole litany of SA offences that have committed on minors, on children, especially coming out of those hotels. You are doing nothing to solve the problem. And you, instead of actually going into the root of the problem, you start targeting people and putting a bounty on people's heads, on Nigel Farage, trying to label people who support the Reform Party as racists. You know, David Lammy calling Farage a representation of the Hitler Youth. This kind of rhetoric is dangerous, and I just think Keir Starmer is unfit, simply unfit to be Prime Minister. Something has to be done, and it has to be done fast. There's talks about, sorry about the noise. There's talks about Andy Burnham, who's running for a leadership challenge against Keir Starmer. I don't think that's going to change. I think that's actually going to make things worse, because remember, Andy Burnham is the type of guy who wants to rejoin the EU. Obviously, any strategy that can get the Labour Party out needs to be tabled and discussed, but never have I seen an unprecedented level of incompetence, just sheer totalitarianism and tyranny coming from a government that should represent the British people. That's all I have to say. Leave your comments down below.